Hello and good morning. Today we are finally making some bread on this channel. And not just any bread, but we're making the bubbly, airy focaccia that actually also works really well as a pizza base. So it's been a couple of months now since I went to Paris for culinary school, for bread school. So I'm very excited to finally be here to talk about dough. I have my two bread Bibles here, my notes from school, and this book, Flour, Water, Salt, Yeast, which I think is really great as a resource, super informative, and kind of explains the whys behind the hows. And today's recipe is actually going to be from this book, The Overnight Pizza Dough with POOLISH. I know it says pizza dough, but it does also make for a lovely focaccia. And I know this because I have used this exact recipe to make many loaves of focaccia and they have turned out fantastic. Great flavor, great crumb, crispy on the outside. So yes, we are in for a treat. Super quick as a little technical bite, POOLISH is a type of pre-ferment that is made from equal parts flour and water with just a little bit of yeast. And it's kind of similar to a starter in the way we use it for bread. So this is a method I learned about in school, and I just really liked how the POOLISH gave the bread amazing flavor, a lighter texture, a better crust. And the thing is, it's really not that difficult to make. So let's get into it. So the very first thing to do is to make your POOLISH, the pre-ferment. Because it needs time to ferment, you want to do this the day before. So that's why I got started last night. I have my flour here, 500 grams of flour. And this is all the yeast we're going to put in the entire recipe. That's it, just like this little 1/8 of a teaspoon. Separately, I'm also preparing my water, which I want in equal volume. So there's 500 milliliters of water here. The important thing is to get it to the right temperature. Right here, we want it at 27 degrees Celsius. As a side note, I don't think I realized just how important it is to get the exact temperature of water, of liquids, when it comes to baking bread. This was something that we were super precise with in school. So definitely get like a temperature reader, a thermometer, to make sure you get it right. So then once I have all the ingredients, I'm just mixing it all together. It doesn't have to be super smooth. You just want to mix it until it's just about incorporated. And then I'm just covering it up and just leaving it on the counter to rest overnight. Here we are the next day. I have my jiggly POOLISH here. Let me show you. First off, you can see that it's already tripled in volume. There's a lot more rise. There's some bubbles on top. There's a lot of air in here though, so it still feels light. And if I do this little jiggly situation, it's very jiggly. And so now that I know that my POOLISH is ready, I'm going to prepare the other half of the flour. Where over here, I'm gonna add 500 grams of bread flour. Never fear, I have more. I may have been making a little too much focaccia. 500 grams. Nice. Also in here, I'm adding in 20 grams of salt. Give that a little toss. So the next thing is to add some water. And again, we have to be very precise here. In school, we also actually measured the temperature of the room, the temperature of the flour. We don't have to be as intense here, but we do need to get the water to 41 degrees Celsius or 105 degrees Fahrenheit. I have some boiled water and some room temp water. Just gonna find a way to make that into 41. Some hot water. The temperature is 40. So it is a bit like experimenting. We are at 41.5. All right, now using this water, I'm going to just loosen the POOLISH around the edges. So I'm just pouring that because, you know, it's a bit sticky right now. See how much easier that makes it come off. Wow, very jiggly again. So now I can combine the two. Just every last bit of moisture. Now to combine it, I'm just doing it by hand to begin with, but once it looks a little more homogenized, I'm gonna go to the stand mixer just to give the arms a break. So here it is, somewhat integrated after being in the mixer for a little bit. There's still a little bit of flour bits under there, so I'm just scraping down the sides and wetting my scraper and hands when needed. But if you're doing it totally by hand, same idea, you're just trying to combine the flour with the POOLISH. So I feel like now this is looking pretty good. There's not a lot of structure here though right now. It's still a little bit lumpy, but that's okay because the next part is the bulk fermentation, where for 5 to 6 hours, just gonna let it rest here. So then eventually it's going to become 2.5 times its original volume. And within this next first hour of bulk fermentation, I'm going to give it a fold or two. So let's check in like half an hour or so. While we're waiting for the dough to ferment, there's still about 10 minutes or so. I just want to say a quick thank you to our sponsor for today, Bombas, who I will partner with forever and ever. You already know how much I love them. It's still quite cold in New York. That's why I'm in my cozy wear, putting on some cozy socks. These are their Merino Blend house socks. They come with these nice little grippers. It just keeps my feet warm and comfy, especially when I'm, you know, just standing there all day staring at my dough. Ooh, comfy. The key to staying warm during winter really is keeping your feet warm and keeping your head warm. I've already stocked up on a lot of warm socks from them, a lot of the merino wool blends. Those are my favorite. But very recently though, I actually also bought these gripper socks specifically because I've been starting to go to Pilates more. They have these like neat little grippers underneath, really great at helping me maintain my balance. And again, because they are a purpose-driven brand, every pair purchased is another pair donated. So you can do good and feel good knowing that every single purchase you make is actually doing some real good with Bombas. So I'm back with another discount code for you. You can either go to bombas.com/ingalam or use my code ingalam at checkout. I think our 10 minutes are up, so back to the dough we go. All right, half an hour later, it hasn't changed too much yet. I'm gonna give it its first fold. What I like to do is just have like a bowl of warm water on the side. This is so I can dip my hands in to get it wet because the dough is still gonna be pretty sticky right now. Grab one of the edges here and just pull it up and fold it over to the other side. Then I just go back in with my hand in the water, continue around the edge like so. I'm just pulling it up and then tucking it back in. This is to help it build strength. Just trying to tuck in the seams at the end there, and ta-da! Now it looks a little more like a ball. Smooth on the top, give it another half an hour or so, and I'll be back again. Another half an hour later, folding it. Ooh, it already feels a lot nicer now. It feels smoother, a little more stretchy. A little bit of olive oil on top and on the sides of the bowl. So now to patiently wait for 4 to 5 hours more. Bread is patience, but it will be worth it. Good morning again. It is day 2 and I have my focaccia dough ready here. They're looking really good, super poofy. So I took them out of the refrigerator about an hour or so ago. Let them come to room temperature a little more, so then, you know, it's a bit easier to work with. You can also definitely tell that they poofed up a little more. It's been a while since I had my dough babies. Gosh, this brings me so much joy. And you can definitely smell that like yeasty, you know, like fermented flavor, which with this recipe always does translate into the final product. I have my oven preheating to 500 degrees Fahrenheit. That should be ready to go, which means I can now put them into the baking pans. So this is what I usually use. These are just 2 square cake pans. I used them on my first try because they were all I had, and I realized that they actually do work pretty well, and it's like a relatively good size for the amount of dough that we have, which is around 350 grams in here. So first thing I do is to just put a layer of olive oil. And I will say with this focaccia, you do want to be a lot more generous with the olive oil. Go with olive oils that you actually love the taste of. This is one of those things where I feel like the product you use will definitely make a huge change in the end result. So now I can go ahead and put the dough in here. Woohoo! Perfect. You could also flatten this out separately on another baking tray, but I kind of just like going in with my hands like so, just rolling it out like I would a pizza dough. The beauty of this dough is that because there's so much hydration, and at this point it's rested for so long, it's just very, very easy to stretch. It's very easy to work with, and I feel like it's pretty forgiving. This is the fun part. This is where I go in with sort of the seasonings, the flavorings, whatever you want to do. 2 of the flavors I've been really loving are, 1, a lemon herb situation. So I have some thyme, some rosemary, and I also have a flavored olive oil. This is a lemon infused extra virgin olive oil. Normally, I don't really love flavored olive oils. I feel like they can taste a little weird, but this one, I've used it for at least like 10 loaves now, and every time it's just... The other flavor I like is the everything bagel flavor. So I just use the Trader Joe's everything but the bagel seasoning. And then sometimes to spice it up, I like to add a splash of this chili infused olive oil. And both of these are just perfect. They're not too heavy. The perfect marriage with this bread. So first up, we have our lemon situation. Lemon oil. Very generous. Pour a little bit more olive oil there. Some rosemary, some thyme. Flaky sea salt. I'm just going to go in with my hand and give this a little dimple. For the other one, chili one, dimple the oil in. Some bubbles on the side there. The main thing is to make sure that it's dimpled evenly. On goes my everything bagel seasoning, and I just like to be very generous with this. We're not skimping on toppings here. And that's it. They're both ready to go. It bakes for around 12 to 15 minutes. I just like to keep an eye on them. Once they're golden brown, I'll take them out. I can smell the lemon already. It smells so good. And here they are. Ooh. Oh, I smell so good. This one in particular, this lemon one, is my favorite. You don't have to let them cool. I just like to go on there and sprinkle a little more salt. So this is the everything bagel seasoning one. She is gorgeous. You can really see every single thing on there. My beautiful lemon focaccia. They have bubbled up real nice on the outside. You get this color. At the bottom here, you can see, look at that. Beautiful crunch. This is why I was saying you do want to also just put some oil at the bottom of the pan. It really does pay off. Here we go. This is my favorite part. Here you see it. Ah, it's a nice bubble up here. There's a nice firmness, a nice bounciness. This is what I'm talking about. You can see that there is like a nice open crumb there. You want it to have this sort of bounce to it. I love this bread so much. What makes a good focaccia to me is that it has this like lovely crunch on the outside, you know, that crisp. And then when you bite into it, there is that sort of like Q texture on the inside. And what I love especially about the flavor of this dough is that it's not too doughy. The benefit of using the POOLISH is that there is that like extra savory flavor, slight nuttiness, and it just balances so well with whatever seasoning you put on it. Oh my gosh. And so there it is, focaccia, my new love, my current favorite bread. I know this recipe is a little more time consuming, but I promise you the rewards are ones that you want to reap. This is truly a recipe that like I keep making loaves of and finishing before I can even give out to people. So give this a try. Let me know what you think. As always, remember to like and subscribe. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video.